Is the deal, you guys? Baby Mama Chronicles back for another episode. Thank you guys for joining me today. I appreciate the love as always, you guys. Subscribe, share, like, comment. We got to get all of those things out of the way because I want to build this brand. I'm trying to take Baby Mama Chronicles to the next level, and the only way that I can do that is by my loyal Baby Mama gang, BM gang, and of course just the people that love me, whether it be from College Hill, whether it be from just knowing me from around the way. You already know what it is. Tap in with your girl. Y'all will not be disappointed. First of all, for those that know me from College Hill, hey. When I came back home from doing College Hill, you know, and this is, you guys, just so you can have context, this is pre-social media. There was no Instagram, there was no Twitter that existed at that time. There wasn't even a Facebook. Facebook came on the tail end of me doing College Hill. The word fame and celebrity likeness and things like that, when you were on TV, it was magnified. You know what I mean? Like, if you see somebody on TV now for your Love and Hip Hops or you know, a lot of your other reality TV shows, yes, those people are definitely celebrities in their own right as of now, even in today's time with social media. But back then, again, it was magnified because you just didn't see people walking down the street that were on TV. It just really didn't, unless you lived in Hollywood, LA, then of course, you know, the likelihood of you running into somebody that was industry was very, very high. But, you know, in other cities around the country, not so much. And even still in LA, like, it still was kind of like, a super big deal. So, you know, when I came back from the show, I was famous, girl. I was famous. Like, if it had been now, people always ask me, like, do you wish it would have been now? And in a sense, yes, because, you know, I would be able to reach out to you guys a little bit easier. And the reach would be a little bit further because of the platform. However, if I would have had all of the shit that I was on back then and I was nothing nice, I'm sure there are some people that probably met me that were like, girl, like, I am glad that I didn't have social media at that time because I could have, you know, embarrassed myself even further, which is part and parcel of one of the reasons why I want to kind of come to you guys and talk to you guys today too. I'm going to be jumping around a little bit, but just something that was on my mind. Like, it used to rub me the wrong way when, you know, I would see people in stores and, you know, they would see me and be excited to see me. I wasn't ready for the fame. Like, you know, in short, I really wasn't ready for the fame. People would be excited to see me. And, you know, people also, you know, when you see somebody that's from TV or off TV, again, especially at that time, you don't want to bother nobody. You a little bit embarrassed. Like, you don't know how that person is going to come off. You know what I mean? And so people try to find ways to either get your attention or, you know, build up the courage enough to be able to ask you for a picture or ask you, you know, so girls would come around me and be like, you know, oh my God, girl, you look so familiar. Mookie can attest to this. My friend Mookie. Me and Mookie used to be out all the time, and you know, people are coming to me like, oh my God, are you that? You look so familiar. I don't know where I know you from. And bitch, I just wasn't ready for the fame. And I would say like, no, I don't think so. Or even though I know that they were saying that they probably knew me from College Hill, I knew what they were leading up to. I would say, I don't know. Well, I grew up in LA. I grew up in the area. Maybe we went to school together. What school did you go to? And I'm shooting the shit with them, like, and just seeing if they gonna have the courage to just say, boom. And again, you know, it just, when I think about that, you know, just that whole experience, you know, you have to be really, really careful what you ask for. What I will say about fame, right, is so many people think they want fame. So many people think they want to be in the limelight, you know, and have a whole bunch of what now would be followers, fans, whatever. And it's a lot of, you know, responsibility that comes with that. You know, like, there are people who you don't even know how you affect their lives. You know what I mean? These are people that could be, you know, trying to get their lives together in one way or another. Maybe you've inspired them in some way. So if they finally get a chance to meet you and you shit on them, like, not only does that taint your reputation and taints the way that you're looked at in the industry and then just, you know, in the streets as well, like, it's just bad karma. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really, really is. So you have to really, really, really be careful what you ask for. I had a whole bunch of other shit. I remember I was at Red Lobster. I'll tell y'all this story. Oh my God. I really didn't even want to tell this story because it's so embarrassing to me. Maybe to some it's not, but for me to be a grown woman with a child, family, and you know what I mean? Like, to think that I was just that self-centered and just in my own way, really, you know what I mean? And not really appreciating the access and the influence that I had over people. So child, me and my mom at Red Lobster in Inglewood, and no, it wasn't Red Lobster, it was Chili's, just playing. Still in the same area, whatever. And we were at the Chili's, and it was two guys, and I think they were some of my queens, you know what I'm saying, just how they were swagging and profiling and doing their thing, I could tell. And so they were kind of like, oh my God, that's her, you know what I mean, and probably whispering and murmuring. And then somebody came up to me and said something like, oh, Fallon, like, we love you on the show. It was something that he said that was very kind, pure-hearted. And I just was like, I must have had an attitude. I don't know what exactly I said. And I probably don't remember, because I tried to block it out of my memory, because I remember that as kind of like a pivotal turning point in, to be honest, my decline of the limelight, as well as just personal. Like, I had a lot of growth that happened from the time I did that show to now. I mean, rock bottom lows, life hit my ass hard you know what I mean? And so I don't remember exactly what I said. However, the biggest point is when they walked away, and it was just me and my mom. I think we were still in the waiting area, still waiting to be seated. My mama said to me, you don't want to be famous. You don't want this. You don't want this life. You're not even, or something along the lines of, you're not built for this life, or you need to figure out if this is really what you want to do. Because my mama's seeing or whatever, like, this is what comes with the game, baby. With every industry that you choose, every job, every goal, every endeavor, there is going to be some type of part of it that you may not like. There's going to be some part of it that makes you uncomfortable, but it shouldn't, if you're truly convicted in what it is that you're trying to pursue, it shouldn't sway you. It should just be something that you're willing to take on the chin, because you're a gangster and you're going to go through whatever you got to go through to get to where it is you're trying to go. Literally, I hate that experience. And they probably somewhere, whatever, like, spreading the word still. Like, Fallon, when I met her, she was such a bitch. Haven't y'all met celebrities or people that y'all love or whatever, and you met them and they just completely underwhelmed you, and your expectations were so high and they just completely missed the mark? Hey, hopefully y'all somewhere out there, if it was y'all I ran into at Chili's that day way back in the day, and you remember me, hit me up. Let's go to lunch. Let's get it right. Let's fix it. So the main reason why, that was just some backstory on that, but I really just want to shoot the shit with y'all. Y'all love the show. I'm so grateful that so many of you still love the show. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about OGs from back in the day that remember the show specifically from back then. And then, of course, the newbies, the people that are just now starting to even know who Fallon is, who JT is, who Crystal, Idisha, Vanessa, Willie, Chicky, like Andres, like gang, you know what I mean? Like, them are my family forever and ever, like, and then of course my C3 fam or CH3 fam or whatever, with Ray, Deidre, Orlando, Rodney, like Will, like all of y'all, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a real tight-knit family. We do still have a group chat on Instagram, so we still do keep in contact, and it's really just an awesome feeling to still have you guys so excited about the thing that we built. You know what I mean? It was on our back, and we carried College Hill to the next level, and I'm so proud of that. I hear y'all comments. I hear them. I see them, and this is one of the main things I want you guys to understand and know. College Hill was filmed in 2006, aired in 2007, March of 2007. It has literally been 15 years since we've shot that show. Before I even get into what I want to get into, I want y'all to think for a minute. Like, think back 15 years from now. 15 years ago. All of y'all that's watching this video, that's under the sound of my voice, think about where you were 15 years ago, okay? 06, 07. Some of y'all was fucking probably in elementary school. So, like, don't come for me. Think about where you were. And if you're honest with yourself, and hopefully, if you are blessed enough, because I would hope that you would have experienced some growth from 2007 to 2021, how much have you grown? How much have you expanded your horizons? How much have you righted wrongs? How much have you healed? How much therapy have you had? How much self-healing have you done? How much, work, spiritual work have you really put in to get to where you are? Again, if your mind was right, I'm hoping that it's been, a lot, more than you can even account for by the grace of God. Like, I want y'all to understand a lot of the comments and stuff that I have been reading, understandable, because we was wilding. A lot of them have really been taken, have not been taken with a grain of salt, or haven't been made with a grain of salt, meaning like, we filmed that show when I was not even 21 yet, okay? I wasn't even 21 years old yet when I filmed that show. You know what I mean? I turned 21 on the show. There's an episode where it was my birthday and I turned 21 on the show. So I have experienced so much growth and expansion in my life that, it would take me all day and all night for days and days and days and days to give y'all step by steps of exactly what God has brought me through and how I've been able to center myself enough to be able to find myself, get in touch with who I truly am, and, really get on my path of purpose. That has taken time and hard work. And Fallon that you saw on College Hill was, of course, a totally different Fallon that you see today, okay? She's still here. But, I was a kid when I filmed that show. And a lot of the upset that I think that, I'm feeling and I'm seeing is based on the fact that we were very culturally ignorant to experiencing this new culture. And, I don't even think at that point in my life, I had never traveled internationally. I think the only places that I had been were like major metropolitan cities. I really hadn't even traveled down south yet, so your Miamis, I had been to, or Orlando's and New York and Canada and, Washington and Vegas and a couple of places at that time, but not a whole lot of places, you know what I mean? Oh, and DC, shout out to DC, always DC, Maryland for sure. But LA has always been my home. LA has always been where I call home, even when I lived in Maryland, you know what I mean? I only stayed there for 3 or 4 years and moved right back, you know what I mean? And just so you also guys have some context as well, in the Los Angeles area, especially in the 90s, I'm talking about the hood LA, not Hollywood. I'm talking about the real LA. Anybody from LA will tell you, baby, you had black people and you had Mexicans. Now, I'm sure there are caveats. We of course don't call all Spanish people Mexican, okay? Use more sense than that. Of course, you have your Puerto Ricans, you got your Dominicans, you got your Cubans, it's all different flavors. In LA though, we talking for the majority black and Mexican, especially in the impoverished or, lower income areas. And there wasn't really a lot of diversity. No white people. We had no white people in their class, barely. And I'm just saying this to say it was not a melting pot. That melting pot that you would hope to have for your child. That way you can kind of introduce them to different cultures early on. And make them comfortable with being around different people from different places, different backgrounds. We did not have that education. We grew up in a state of ignorance, even about ourselves. And that's the whole thing. Like, not even with other cultures, with even learning about ourselves and knowing who we are. The stuff that we learned in school, the textbooks that we got, the information that we were given was not sound. And it's still not, to be all the way 100. Our parents, in a sense, and our teachers and the people that we had that were leading us really would miss the mark on that. And just to fast forward, by the time, I had an opportunity to go to the Virgin Islands, which is still domestic, because it was the U.S. Virgin Islands. It wasn't even the British Virgin Islands. It still was, considered U.S. territory. But it was far enough for me to completely feel like I was in a whole nother world. I could have very well have been somewhere, a country in Africa or a country in, Asia or in any place. Like, it could have definitely been that for me. And that's how culture shocked that we were. So when we got to the Virgin Islands, we were like, what? And I don't know if that was the intention of the casting directors. Maybe they were that prolific and that, just insightful in the creation of casting in that manner that they knew it was going to be conflict, because culturally we were so different. They could have probably chose, some kids from California that were more well-rounded, that had, you know, were more well traveled and things like that. Just, and you can of course sense that just by asking questions, engaging in the interview. They knew Crystal was wild as hell, you know, grew up in the OC or whatever, was a little bit whitewashed, and you know what I'm saying, had, you know, the access to be able to go do this and go do that. You know, they knew I was a girl from the hood, and you know, I probably hadn't seen that much, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were very intentional, I believe. And when we came together, it was definitely a culture shock, you know, a literal culture shock. I regret it, you know, I regret it because of my own experience. You know, of course, I feel bad for anybody that I may have offended, or even in rewatching it. If you're watching it for the first time and you know, heard me say some things, or just, you know, giving off energy that you really didn't appreciate, I apologize. You know, I was young. I was still figuring so much of life out. And, you know, that's just what it is. I didn't get to experience the Virgin Islands the way that I would have wanted to. I didn't get to experience another culture the way that I wish that I would have, because although there were some customs and cultural elements that still penetrated who I was and who I grew up to be, I feel like it could have been way more vast and immense. Like, if I really would have zoned in on appreciating that experience for what it was, being able to fly out to the Virgin Islands, completely free tuition, getting paid, okay, living in a beautiful estate, you know, having the access to go out, have fun, meet people. Look, girl, you give me that chance now, girl, I might not come back. I literally might not come back. Like, my baby girl, where my baby girl? Okay, send her out to me. I definitely had the best time of my life, but I wish I would have enjoyed it even more. Now, let me pull up. What y'all drinking today? You know, I always like to have a little wine. I don't know about Shy, but I love to have a little wine. Why not? But for those that think that you have a license to try to tell me about myself and where I went wrong and what I did and what I would like you to pull up your own files. First of all, most of you, if you keep it all the way 100, and again, this is with me already prefacing it with the fact that I apologize. I understand where my head wasn't at in order to experience that situation the way that I wanted to. However, I am human. I was young, you know, and God allowed me to be able to right my wrongs and, you know, face the mistakes that I had to and have accountability and et cetera, et cetera. How many of you have had accountability for the things that you did 15 years ago? How many of you would be willing to let your skeletons fall out the closet, or different moments that you may not be as proud of be displayed in front of the whole world to see? How many of you would have the courage to do that even with your small circle of friends or family? How many of y'all would really have the courage to do that? Okay? We all, everybody on my show, bared their soul in a sense, you know, and exposed themselves, you know, and just opened themselves up to the scrutiny, to whatever it is that y'all wanted to say about us, you know. And again, a lot of y'all may not have had the courage to do that. Again, like I said earlier, a lot of y'all probably wasn't even in high school. Y'all probably shouldn't have been watching the show with your little asses anyway. Or, you know, if you know, just now watching it because you were, you know, very young when the show came out, understand it was shot a very, very long time ago. And yes, if your question is, have you guys grown? I hope you guys have grown since the show. The answer is yes, as I hope that you have grown since whatever you was doing 15 years ago. A lot of y'all probably are not even that interesting. Okay, for those that really want to shade, I understand the ones that, you know, have taken issue with the fact that, you know, we said and did things or whatever that they didn't appreciate. I understand. I totally understand, and I empathize. I know where you're coming from. But for those that want to super mouth off and I didn't like you and Crystal because woo. You watching us now? You still watching? And I bet you your life is not that interesting that where people would want to watch you. Okay? So sit back enjoy the show and be happy that your issues or whatever it is that you are not proud of is not on display, and that you have still time to get yourself together and correct yourself before anybody can see it, okay? I am very proud of how far Crystal and I have come. Crystal is a mother now. That is my ace boon coon. A couple of other answers to some questions. You know, you was following Crystal. Yep, I was following her. That was my friend. If she did something, I was doing it. I was writing. That was my homegirl. And that's what it was. You know what I mean? I linked up, clicked up, or whatever. It was gang gang. And we're, you know, what she was fucking with, I was fucking with. What she wasn't fucking with, I wasn't. But if you watch the show, there are certain parts in the show where I didn't agree with everything that she said. In the earlier episodes or whatever, when she was in the car, I think we were on our way to the beach or something, she was tripped out. I wasn't fucking with her. I left her. She got off the bus got off the little van by herself because she was in one of her Crystal moods. You know, listening to her headphones, singing out loud, just doing her. And so we wasn't, you know what I mean? We didn't probably round back up into the end of that day. Or even when we had the little round table and we were kind of, you know, people were trying to say like, oh, this is my issue with you, Crystal, this, that, and the third. I initiated that because I feel like people needed to get out exactly what did they need to say to her face. So we always were not clicked up. You know what I'm saying? There were times or whatever where we had contention and there were certain things that I did not agree with and I spoke my piece about it. But that was still my homegirl and I was still riding with her, especially towards the middle end, because that's when the cultural separation and the tension in the house was brewing at its highest. You know what I'm saying? You need allies, baby. I don't know if you ever been to war, but you need allies. And yes, you got to be able to stand on your own at the end of the day. And I was always prepared to do that. And I'm still prepared to do that today. Understand, you guys, be grateful for the growth that you've experienced. Be grateful for the growth you've been blessed to experience. I have a best friend that passed when he was 29 years old from testicular cancer, I believe. And he's my best friend. He was the godfather to my daughter, Barrios. No, he didn't get enough time to right whatever wrongs he maybe thought he had. He didn't get another opportunity to make that apology or to, you know, just see life in a different way so that way he could grow from his negative experiences. He did not have that opportunity, you know. So if you're living, breathing under the sound of my voice, be grateful. See it as a blessing. Do not chastise other people for their mistakes, because we all have skeletons. We all have demons and stuff that we must face. If you haven't gotten into the mirror to ask yourself what it is that you need to reconcile, you may want to do that. Because there's no guarantee that any of us have a certain amount of time in order to reconcile these things. So pray that you get to live long enough. You know, people be talking about, I don't want to get old. I don't want to get old. You should pray that you're able to get old enough to be able to mature, see life for what it is, and apply the lessons that you've learned, even if they were really hard lessons, to like I said, where I feel like I reached rock bottoms in certain parts of my life. Those things help shape me. This is why you're seeing the glow that you see today. Like, you know, it was all due to God's grace, his mercy, and hard work, soul work, spirit work, okay? So get you some. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Baby Mama Chronicles Real Talk College Hill Edition. If y'all have more comments, you know, make sure y'all drop them, even though I know y'all gonna drop them anyway. Again, I love that you guys are watching the show. I guess it's on Hulu now. And if you guys want to see College Hill reunited, you guys want to see College Hill again on the main screen, you need to go to BET's Instagram, blow up their comment section, and let them know. You need to blow up Tracy Edmonds' comment section. Tracy Edmonds, I know you can find her. That is the creator of College Hill. And let her know that y'all need to see a reunion ASAP. You guys will not rest until this reunion happens. And, you know, you never know. You might see it. But I love you guys. I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace.